Let us see you. Let us see.
All right, Adam.
Yes.
Tanya.
Darlene.
Hey, it's Jody. I'm trying to figure out my camera.
Miss Jody.
Hey, Miss Star.
Jody Pruitt.
Yes, ma'am. I can't do my, I don't know. I'm having problems with my video. Let's see. I can't do my video.
Oh.
Hold on.
Your face.
We definitely can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go back out and then come back in because I don't know why it's not letting me show my face. So I'm going to leave.
Do start video on the down there at the bottom?
And it's saying to unable to access camera, allow Zoom to access your camera. Something about private settings. So let me go back out and then I'll come back in.
Gotcha.
Okay.
What was her name?
Jody.
Jody.
Jody Pruitt.
Dr. Stephanie, we're sending you really great energy for that headache that you say you're experiencing. And we'll be keeping you uplifted throughout the show. So
thank you. So my face is all twisted up. It's not y'all.
Okay.
Oh, I understand.
Thank you for that.
Hey, Kim Venerable.
I understand.
Let's see your face, darling. Miss Kim Venerable.
Princess Johnson just joined us. Hello.
Hey, Renee, can we see you tonight? Who else we got?
See, Ruth just joined us.
Hey, Kim.
I think.
Yeah, we got
My
Ruth.
cousin. Hi, Ruth.
They're all muted. Amelia.
Hey, Dr. Amelia.
Hey.
Yep. Yep. I can't see you.
Princess Johnson. Hey, how you doing?
All right.
Hello.
Welcome, Reese. Princess. There she is.
Hey, Princess.
Hey.
Hello.
Tanya Washington.
So we busting out of 2 pages. We about to be 3 pages.
I know.
Good thing.
Miss Chambers just joined us. How are you today? Let us see your lovely face.
You guys look so beautiful tonight.
Really, really. Hey, do we get so far? We're at the hump time. Do we get a thumbs up or do we get a thumbs down? I'm hoping we get
Thumbs
this.
up.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
Hey, Kimberly Richardson.
Hey, Renee, how you doing?
Hey, Miss Star. Coming in on the
Hi.
iPhone.
We got Sharice in the house.
Hey, Renee.
We got someone at 0086. Who's that?
Hi,
Hey, Sandra.
Sandra. Welcome. Let us see your beautiful face.
Hey, Sandra.
Hello.
Sandra Cronwell. Hey, welcome.
How are you?
Oh, fine. Now that you're here.
Well, I'm gonna be snacking because I fixed my dinner late, so but I am
Girl, do you, okay? Do
Hi,
you?
Evelyn. Let us see your face. Welcome, welcome. We just want to see you.
Okay, did you want to hear this?
Welcome.
Well, you put it on mute. If you're gonna be smacking that loud, you can just put it on mute.
Don't want to stop you, that's for sure.
No.
Well, welcome everyone. This is week 3. We're so happy that you're here with us. I'm Sandy Rogers, and I get to be the moderator tonight. So I must have did something right. They gave me the microphone first. So look, we're doing tonight, Tanya Durrah is our lead speaker, and she's leading us through the 4 lifestyle pillars for living your best life. And Tanya is on fire tonight. So let me introduce the other part of our team first. So we've got Star Waters, and there you go, Star. So at an altitude of 80,000 feet, way up in the sky, she hit her rock bottom, right? And she was publicly humiliated. She was weighing well over 300 pounds. She had high blood pressure plus type 2 diabetes. She single-handedly reversed all of that stuff, right? But to all of that success, it all pales to what I feel is her most significant contribution, and that is she flew from Atlanta out to Washington to help her son and his wife, who was having difficulty getting pregnant. Star stayed there. She fixed their food and took care of the meals. They didn't have to worry about it. And it was like that. She got pregnant. And then number 2 came right after that. So she could be all up in the sky with them issues if she want to, but the babies are what counts. So welcome, Star. And you know, with all of that weight loss, 150 pounds, I still say helping them grandbabies get here was your most important. Yes, ma'am. And then we got Miss Carla DeRosa over there. Hey, Carla.
Hello.
So this mother of 2 amazing daughters has a deeper message than just eat your vegetables. She helps all of us re-engineer our values regarding food and remap our habits for health. So she has shared the stage with Dr. Michael Greger, and she is also a recovering food junkie. How about that? Self-admitted, right?
Mhm.
But to me, Carla's biggest accomplishment was when she faced her fears and she stood on stage, and she is a celebrated stand-up comedian. So let's hear from Miss Carla. She was really funny too, you guys. She did an amazing job. I'm Sandy Rogers, and what I want to share with you about me for tonight. And see, each week we're giving you a little bit more about who we are and where we are. I quit smoking cigarettes after 40 plus years. No patches, no shots, no fake cigarettes, no none of that stuff. I did it to honor my sister who had died earlier in 2010. And I told you guys about her on the first show. And what happened was she always was trying to get me to stop smoking while she was alive, because she was the one that gave me my first cigarette. So, you know, it got to be a little funny there sometimes, but I was able to do it because I did it to honor her life. And I've been smoke free now 10 and a half years. I'm so proud to be able to share that with you.
Yes.
So anything that I can do to help you out with breaking some of those habits, I'm here to help you. And next, our star features speaker of the hour. So Miss Tanya Durrah says, if you want to see tonight's facilitator light up, ask her anything about making lifestyle changes, and she'll hem you up for hours. This busy mom of 6, homeschooler, wife, and entrepreneur knows that what it's like to be out of sync with living a healthy, balanced, and a lifestyle from time to time, right? I mean, come on, you guys. 6 children, a wife, and she homeschooling them. Look, that's a lot right there. So for this very reason, she became a certified holistic health coach. So she's very, very, very passionate about what she does, and you'll find that out momentarily. So a couple of things about Tanya, just to give her more life too, is that she was a ballet dancer from the age 6 until she was 16. She is a nerd at heart, and I find that really hard to believe, Tanya. And she tried out to be a Falcons cheerleader, and she made it all the way up to the finals. So let's hear it for our speaker of today, Miss Tanya Durrah. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you so much for that gracious introduction. How is everyone this evening? I'm excited. I'm excited. Are you guys excited for tonight? Like I said, we're almost beyond halfway through, and we still have more to share. So I'm excited about what I'm going to be sharing with you guys this evening. And like Sandy said, I am a busy mom, and that's an understatement. Honest, that's really an understatement. Raising 6 children, homeschooling, doing all that, it can take a toll, on you in terms of, just trying to live a healthy lifestyle. And so a lot of people think that, oh man, you make this thing look so easy. And, I'm like, yeah, but I'm walking around here on, pins and needles half the time. And so, that's part of the reason that I'm always excited to talk about I believe in keeping things simple, because anything too complicated in my life is like, I'm off the rails. So I have to keep things simple. And for me, what I'm going to be sharing with you guys tonight, that's what health is about to me. Trying to do things that are as simple as possible, but have like the greatest impact in your life. Does that make sense? So that's what I'm going to be talking to you guys about. Really, I'm going to be sharing with you like 4 very simple habits that sometimes we don't think about, that really do make a really big impact in our lives and in our health. And if you do these things, you'll see improvement over time, because, who believes this? So like, first of all, let me just tell y'all this. One thing Sandy didn't say that she didn't share with you is that I'm actually 83 years old. Okay, so now that I have your attention.
Tell them that.
But the thing is, my husband and I talk about this all the time. And one of the things that we talk about is that we want to live like a very long life. We want to see our great grandchildren. And what I know for sure about being able to do that is that we have to take care of this body temple that we have, and it doesn't take a lot for us to be able to do that. I know for me, just to give you a little bit more background about my wellness journey, way back when I was in my early 20s, I was a person that, I've never, and to be honest, I've never been a person that had like chronic illnesses or anything like that, but I was a sickly person. It's like I was always sick. I always had a cold. I always had the flu. You're talking about headaches. I always had massive headaches, migraines that would last for like days. And it's like, it seemed like there was nothing I could just do about it. I suffered with chronic fatigue for many years and candida for many years. And it just seemed like there was nothing I could do about it. Until just one day, I just started just making what I consider now some minor adjustments, but I changed my diet and to a more plant-based diet. I started doing exercise, because anybody that has, any of my clients that have ever worked with me, they know how much I literally do loathe exercising, but I know it has to be done, so I do it. But I started exercising, and literally within about 2 weeks of doing that, like my whole health changed. The headaches stopped, the colds stopped, the candida went away. Never had an issue with it since. And this has been for over 30 years now. The chronic fatigue stopped. Just everything just stopped. And so I was like, whoa, okay, what is this thing I'm doing here? Because I tend to be more, I investigate what I do. And so I'm like, okay, what is this thing? I didn't even know. I had a college friend that was like, oh, so you trying to be a vegetarian? And I was like, what is that? There's a name for what I'm doing? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing that. So in making those slight changes and those slight habit changes, it turned my health around. And so these are some of the things that I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. But before I do that, I want to share the screen with you. I don't know if any of you, if you checked your email, as you know, like Sandy said, I am a teacher at heart. So I have a quiz for you. We're having a pop quiz. I hope you guys are ready. And so basically I'm going to share this. I'm going to do my best to share this screen. So let me, give me a minute. Oh, there we go. We're sharing. Okay, so can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is a pop quiz. And so basically this pop quiz, if you will, is addressing the 4 pillars. And we're going to talk more detail about it. My partners are going to help me out with it. I'm going to start talking about, and let me just go here. Let's just talk about what are the 4 pillars. So there are 4 basic pillars that you want to use to lay the foundation for you to have optimal health, okay? And so those 4 pillars are de-stressing, nutrition, movement, and sleep. And so when you cultivate these 4 health habits into your life, you'll begin to see, because let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, wherever we are in our health journey, today, we didn't get there overnight. So for us to expect for things to change overnight is just not realistic. But as we learn to, incorporate these pillars that I'm going to share with you tonight, you're beginning to lay the foundation so that you can begin to see changes in your health. And sometimes it will be immediate. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you this quiz. And so what I want you to do, if you have a piece of paper or if you want to take mental notes to do this, what I want you to do is we're going to go through each one of these slides. And for everything that you do or that you're doing right now, I just want you to give yourself a point, just 1 point. Okay. And the objective of this quiz, there are no, right or wrongs. There are no winners or losers here. This is literally something that you're going to be able to use to chart your own health and wellness path so that you can see what it is that you need to work on or that you need to strengthen to help get your health in balance. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right, so here we go. So the first one, we're dealing with de-stressing. So give yourself 1 point if you take at least 15 minutes of me time daily. Give yourself 1 point if you do that. Give yourself a point if you practice some form of stillness, meditation on a regular basis, preferably daily. Okay. Give yourself 1 point if you keep a gratitude journal. And we're going to talk about why that's important in just a few minutes. Give yourself 1 point if you take what I call a device Sabbath, really a social media Sabbath, or a social media fast, at least once a week. Give yourself a point, okay? All right, so we're gonna move to nutrition. Give yourself 1 point if you eat 5 different vegetables a day, okay? Give yourself 1 point if you drink a minimum of 8 glasses of water a day. Give yourself a point if you are unprocessing your diet by being more conscious not to consume foods that have more than 5 ingredients that you can actually pronounce, okay? Because that's a key. And then give yourself 1 point if you are aware of the many names of sugar, because Star talked about some of those last week. And if you're also trying to greatly reduce your sugar consumption, give yourself a point, okay? And Carla's gonna talk more about nutrition. So Sandy's gonna talk more about movement, which is another of the 4 pillars. So give yourself a point if you walk up to 10,000 steps daily, or at the very least, you get in at least 30 minutes worth of aerobic exercise at least 3 times a week, okay? Give yourself 1 point if you do some form of strength training 2 times per week. It doesn't necessarily have to be with weights. It could be body weight. It could be the bands, but some form of strength training. Give yourself 1 point if you do some form of high intensity training. So like Tabata workouts or something like that, at least 2 times a week. And then give yourself 1 point if you take what I call movement breaks throughout your day. So like, especially now that a lot of us are, working from home, it's easy to like just sit in front of the computer for the whole 8 hours or whatever. But a movement break is that you at least get up every, 15 or 30 minutes or so to stretch, walk around your desk and come back and sit down. So give yourself a point if you do that. Okay. And then last but not least, what used to be and still is sometimes, especially as I'm getting older, is one of my favorite things is sleep. So important. So give yourself 1 point if you have a bedtime routine, because it's not just important that your children have one, it's important that you have one too. Also give yourself 1 point if you have your caffeine before noon, okay? Give yourself 1 point if you always wake up refreshed and rested after a night's sleep, okay? And give yourself 1 point if you can wake up without an alarm clock, okay? So now, what I want you guys to do, and just let me know what your scores are, because what this is this isn't about you getting like all of them right, if you will, or checking off all of the boxes for each of the 4 pillars. What you want more is that if you have kind of like a balance across the 4. So if you have like 2 points per pillar, you're in pretty good balance. And so now you also know where you need to work. Okay. So I'm gonna get out of screen share for 1 moment. And I just want to see your faces. I want you guys to just share with me who's somewhat in balance. Just speak it out. Who's somewhat in balance? I'm gonna go back to, I think I need to go to 4.
We got one.
So
she's in balance.
So who is that?
Ruth.
Ruth, okay, great. Who else has somewhat of a balance where you might have like 2 or 3 across the board for each pillar?
Dr. Fly is in balance.
Excellent. So it looks like Kim has some balance there. Okay. And so this is great. And so for those of you who may have had like all 4 checked off in one box, right? You want to look at, as we go through the presentation tonight, what I want you to do is focus in on the areas where you need to strengthen your pillar, where you need to strengthen your foundation, whether that be nutrition for you, whether that be sleep for you, whether that be de-stressing, or whether that be movement. So just if you're not in balance across the board, or if you have like all 4 in one box, pay close attention to the area where you have less balance, so that you can begin to use that as a roadmap to lay your foundation for, thriving in optimal health, which is what the name of this is. All right, so that being said, we know where we're working towards tonight, right? Everybody? Okay, because I can't see everybody's face as well. So what I'm going to be talking about tonight is I'm going to be talking about the first pillar that was on the screen, which is de-stressing, because it's so very important. We don't think about stress like this, but a lot of times stress, when we're stressed out, it can have a major effect on the other 3 pillars. Okay, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to share my screen again. So we're talking about de-stressing, but one of the first things that we want to get a better understanding of is exactly what is stress. What am I talking about when I'm talking about stress? Okay. And so when I'm talking about stress, what I'm talking about is how your body responds to the challenges that are going on in your world, how your body responds to, the thoughts that you might have, or events that happen in your life that may cause you to feel anxious or frustration or anger even. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about stress, okay? Just basically how your body responds. And it can show up in a number of different ways, because when we're stressed out, it does affect every single organ. And so I just want to share, just get a little transparent with you guys.
Could you show the screen?
Excuse me?
Could you show the distress screen?
Yes, ma'am. You see?
Yes.
Okay. So, so back in 2017, it literally hit the fan for me. It was the time, I mean, like, granted, I'm already always kind of stressed out anyway, because I have kids, I have a husband, I have a business and homeschooling. My mom's, at that age where I'm having to, really pay more attention to what's going on with her and my father. So it's a lot that goes on in my world. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that, right? And as women, we have a tendency to do what? Take care of everybody ourselves. And I'm no different. So in 2017, what was going on in my world at the time was, as usual, I was doing all the other things that Sandy shared with you that I was doing. But at the time, I was also working 2 days out of a week at a place where I was, assisting with cooking classes. I was also working part-time, if you will. At the time, my daughter was in gymnastics, and she was on the competitive level of gymnastics. So I literally lived in the gym. I lived in the gym. So I had that going on. And in between that, of course, my diet just kind of got off whack. I mean, we were either doing Mexican or Italian. That was kind of like the diet. So you can imagine what was going on. And it had gotten to the point where, my daughter's teammates started asking her, is your mom pregnant? And I didn't even realize that I had started to pack on, my little pooch, until she came to me and she's like, Mom, they asked me if you're pregnant. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on here? But again, that was going on. And then later in the year, one of my favorite aunts passed away, and it impacted me greatly. And for the first time ever in my life, I literally was present when she took her last breath. And that was a lot for me, because I had never had that experience before. In addition to that, the way my family operates, we are kind of like, all is welcome in the house. Is like, it's already a couple more people never really matter. So our doors are always open. So at the time, a friend of ours was staying with us as a boarder. And that was stressful, because I didn't have my own space to be able to do what I wanted to do and move the way I wanted to move in my own house. So there was another level of stress there. And then a few months later, a very, very dear friend of mine, was starting to deteriorate from her battle with scleroderma. And once again, I found myself literally in the presence as she took her last breath. There was a lot going on. In addition to that, within that year, my mother had her second knee replacement surgery. And so I was acting as caregiver. And let me say, if any of you are caregivers, y'all don't get paid enough. You do not get paid enough, because it was hard and it was a lot. And you know what I did, ladies? I did what most of us do. And you let me know if you do this too. I sucked it up, put it down deep, and I kept it moving. Does anybody else do that but me? Just raise your hands if you do that. And so that's what I did. And I didn't even realize that I was under the amount of stress that I was under. Because a lot of times when we're experiencing stress, it's unconscious, because especially as Black women, we have a tendency to just stuff it down and just pretend like nothing's going on until it shows up in our bodies. Right? And here's how it shows up in our bodies. And I'm going to show you this. Here's how. Can you guys see that slide? Can you guys see that?
Yes.
You can? Okay, great. So here's how it shows up in our body. Let's start at the head. Okay. And this is real interesting because we're going into a season, we're living in a time right now where, you know, there's a lot going on in the world. There's COVID, people are locked in. We're getting into that season that they call the winter blues, right? When you're stressed out going into a season like this, right? This is what happens. You're more fatigued. You're less able to concentrate. You have your mood, you know, becomes very melancholy. And for us ladies, this is where, and yes, I'm gonna say the D word, this is where depression can begin to set in because we're stressed out. And we have to be real careful about, you know, not taking care of ourselves. And that's where taking that 15 minutes a day just for us. And when I say just for us, I don't mean do something with your spouse or your significant other. I don't mean do something where you're doing something for someone else. I mean exactly, it's important to take that time for yourself. Make you a priority. Because as women, we a lot of times, and we don't admit this, we don't think we're worthy of taking time for ourselves. But we have to remember, just like what it says when you take a flight, what do they say first? When the air mask drops down, who do you put it on first? You, and then put it on your child or whoever else that's with you that needs help. And that's what we have to do, because otherwise, what brain is what we see here on this diagram. Another
Tanya,
way.
people asked if you could
please
extend. Yes.
Oh, make it. Okay, hold up. Let me see.
hit present.
Present.
That. Is that better?
Much.
Great. Okay. So the next way that stress shows up in our body is on our skin, right? So that's one of the early telltale signs. Ladies, for any of you, when you start thinning, you know, maybe even falling out, you know, your skin tone changes, getting blotchy, things like that. And your skin feels thinner, right? That's a sign of stress showing up in your body, and that's how it comes out, because our skin is the biggest organ on our body. So it's kind of like an immediate response in our body when we're harboring stress, right? Another thing, and this is something that we have to be concerned about, especially in times of COVID-19, is when we're stressed out, our immunity is decreased. And so what that means basically is we're not able to fight off whatever is coming our way, right? It shows up in our heart, and we experience increased heart rate. We experience increased or elevated blood pressure, right? And lead to other issues with heart, stroke, heart attack, a lot of other things that we don't want happening. Also, when we are stressed out, our hormones go awry. And so I'm just going to backtrack for a minute, because things that happens when we're stressed out is that the hormone cortisol begins to release. It's considered our stress hormone, if you will. And a lot of people have called it the fight or flight, right? When we're stressed, our body goes into fight or flight mode, right? And part of that is because of excess cortisone being released. Because cortisone is a beautiful thing. It's something that we create in our bodies within our adrenal glands. And when it's in balance, right, it regulates our blood sugar, it regulates our blood pressure, it regulates our metabolism. And for us ladies, what that means is it helps us to lose weight, okay? Just also, it decreases, it helps with decrease of inflammation. But when it's out of balance because we're stressed, right, everything that I just said goes totally opposite. And so in addition to our cortisone levels going, you know, just crazy, sometimes too, we can find that our reproductive hormones become out of balance. And so, you know, it's interesting that Sandy, you mentioned about Star helping her daughter with the birthing of the babies, because a lot of times infertility has to do with being stressed out because our hormones are out of balance. And so when we're stressed out, it can show up in our bodies like that, where our hormones are just out of, just out of whack. It affects our bones, our muscles, our gut, right? It just changes the whole microbiome of our gut. So again, metabolism begins to slow down and we're not able to absorb the nutrients from our food. And everything just goes awry when we're stressed out. And this is how it shows up in our body. And so that's why it is very important. I'm gonna, how do I get out of that? Okay. So that's why it's very important that, hold on guys, how do I get out of, I wanna, give me a minute. Okay.
Exit.
So going back to this, that's why it's very important that we take measures like de-stressing, some of these measures that we have to help us in bringing down de-stressing. And so my time is winding up, but one of the things that I wanted to do with you guys is something that, again, when all of that was going on in my world, one of the things that I came back to, and I'm trying to get out, how do I get out of the presentation mode? I don't see the exit sign.
I don't see it either.
Uh-oh.
I think you hit escape.
Let's
All
try
right,
that.
you could also do stop screen.
Press the escape button.
Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna do this.
Stop
right
screen share.
here. Go. Ooh, yeah. Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Y'all know I'm not the most tech savvy person in the bunch.
It takes a village, everybody. It takes a village.
But one of the things that I definitely want to share with you guys, because when I was going through all of that, and I tell you, it seemed like my world literally was like going upside down. One of the things that I had to come back to was stillness. I came back to a meditative process, right? And that really helped calm me down. That really helped put me, back kind of like at peace. And so I want to share with you guys a really quick meditation that you can do. And it's literally a 1-minute meditation. And so I don't know if you guys read your emails or saw in our Facebook group, but I requested that you bring some tissue with you today. And you're about to see why in just a few minutes. Because if you didn't bring the tissue, you might want to keep your screen covered because snot might come out your nose about what we're about to do. So what we're gonna do is a 1-minute meditation. And some people know this meditation as what's called the fire breath, okay? And basically what we're gonna do, ladies and gentlemen, for 30 seconds, you're gonna breathe in and out of your nose very rapidly. And in just a few minutes, I'm gonna show you what that looks like. And then after 30 seconds, you're gonna close your eyes and you're just gonna relax for another 30 seconds, okay? Now, I'm gonna warn you up front, some of you are gonna get dizzy. Some of you are going to feel lightheaded. And some of you are just gonna feel kind of weird, okay? And the reason for that is what's gonna happen is for some of you, if you've never done this before, it's gonna be the first time that your brain has actually had oxygen coming to it, okay? Which is a good thing, because after this, you're gonna feel like amazingly relaxed, okay? So, who's ready? All right, here we go. So I am going to set a timer. And I'm gonna, for those of you that did bring your tissue with you, what I'm gonna suggest that you do is blow your nose. Blow your nose now, so that snot won't be flying over the screen. And if you didn't bring tissue and you don't want anybody to see snot flying all over the place, then you might want to black out. But if you have it, blow your nose, and we are going to start the first 30 seconds. So this is what it's gonna look like. And I didn't even bring my own tissue. So this is what it's gonna look like. So You're going to breathe through your nose like this. That's what you're going to do for 30 seconds. Okay. And the other thing too is you guys are going to realize how long 30 seconds is in just a minute. So here we go. Everybody ready?
Yes.
All right, let's go. 30 seconds. Keep going. We're almost there. You're almost down. We're almost there. Keep going. Okay, stop. Close your eyes and just breathe normally. All right, that is your 1 minute meditation. So I would just like to hear from someone. Speak out. How are you feeling after that 1 minute?
Can I say, I'll just say something. I only have, one working lung.
Okay.
And yet God is so good. I still have 100% oxygenation. So I'm getting all the oxygen I need. But that felt like the one lung that is working well and more of an opening. And I could literally feel the difference.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else?
Lisa says she's ready to go to sleep.
It can be very relaxing.
I like to share.
Who is that?
Kimberly.
All right, Kimberly.
My heart started to palpitate like really quickly. I could feel that almost as though I was getting more blood flowing through my body. That's how it was feeling. And then I could, even in my neck area, those muscles were being worked. And I know that I'm tense in my shoulders by doing that. But I feel like there was a rush also. I had a lot of physical things go on, but I feel this rush in my head. Like, it's like, I do feel a little off balance a bit, but it does feel good too. I can't describe, and maybe it's the oxygen you were saying in the beginning, is that you're getting so much oxygen to your brain, and I'm not used to that like that. So it's interesting how it feels physically, but then also mentally, how it's making me feel.
I felt the breathing was good because I teach people to do that. So that was fun. I've never done it like that. But when I meditated, I laid back and relaxed. It was feeling like I was a little dizzy, but not negatively. It was, it just felt like some kind of transition was going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what it in the beginning, when you do this particular meditation, it'll feel like that. And the more you do it, right, you'll still get that rush that you were talking about, Kimberly. But once you close your eyes and breathe normally, it's like, how the scripture talks about that peace beyond all understanding. You kind of get that feeling, And so this is the kind of meditation, and I jokingly tell people all the time, this is one of the quickest meditations that you can do. And so, the next time someone is stressing you out, getting on your nerves, whatever the case may be, this is what you tell them. Give me a minute. Okay.
I'd like to thank you for that one.
Oh, God. That's what you tell them.
That's probably the best minute we could ever ask someone to give us.
Yes, it really helped me. I have COPD.
Okay.
And as I started to, in the beginning, I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to do it. But as I started to do it, I was very relaxed and I just loved it. And I felt my bloodstream, my blood seemed to flow a little better. And then I wind down. I was able to wind down with the closing of the eyes and everything. So thank you. I appreciate that because I'm looking for something quick. You know, we all want that instant everything. So yes, I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad that you got the benefits that you've gotten from it.
Yes.
And this is a meditation that you can build up to doing like 10 minutes, right? And maybe not 10 minutes at one time, but throughout the day, take a minute. Okay. So that's what I wanted to share. That was the first pillar that I wanted to share with you guys about de-stressing. Definitely take the meditation, and in your workbook, you know, you can again use what you have learned and what you're going to learn about the 4 pillars in helping yourself to have some balance with laying your foundation for creating and cultivating these habits into your life, and just watch how things will begin to change for you relative to your health. So the next pillar that we're gonna talk about, and actually my cohort, Miss Durrah, is going to be talking about the pillar of nutrition. And so I'm gonna pass the mic to her.
Thank you, Tanya. Yes, this is my passion. As you know, as you've gotten to know me over these couple of weeks, I love food. So I have the honor of talking about the pillar number 2, nutrition. So Tanya asked me to talk to you about micronutrition and macronutrition. So let's start with just looking at what macronutrients and micronutrients are. So we always hear about macronutrients, like, oh, eat a balanced diet. And so when we hear that, we're talking about our carbohydrates, which are our starches, our sugars. We talked so much about sugars last week, but one of the things that I love when I'm working with a client and we're talking about carbohydrates, a lot of times it's not clear what sugars are when we're talking about carbs. So we're talking about mostly all of the whites, and we talked about the whites, I think even the first week, like white flour, white sugar, rice, bread, all those things. And then sometimes it gets confusing because we're like, well, you know, I'll talk to people and they say, I don't eat any carbs. I don't even like sugar. I don't eat candy. And it's like, well, what's your go-to food when you get stressed? Oh, I love chips. I love potato chips. It's like, that's starchy. That's going to be a carb. And your body, even though it tastes salty to the mouth, your body is going to recognize that as a sugar. And that can be confusing sometimes, but that's also why last week when we were talking to Star about diabetes, it gets confusing because people are like, I don't eat a lot of sugar. So why am I having trouble balancing my sugar? Because of the carbohydrates, the starchy foods. And the next main macronutrient that we all talk about is protein. And so many people know that I'm plant-based and that I teach raw foods. And so one of the biggest questions, what's the biggest question? Put it in the chat. When people say I'm going plant-based, I'm going vegetarian, I'm going vegan, I'm going raw, what's that elephant in the room question? Let me see if somebody can type it in the chat. $1 million question. Yes. Where are you getting your proteins from?
Enlarge your screen, Carla, please.
Okay, sure. Can you see that?
Yes.
Boom. So proteins, just let me be really, really clear. So proteins come from amino acid chains. So yes, there are fully formed proteins in the form of meat products. We know this, we know chicken, fish, right? But where do the chickens and the cows get their proteins from? I can't see the chat. Somebody yell it out. What are they eating?
Grass.
Grass, right?
Lisa says plants.
Plants, that's right. And within the plants and the grass are the amino acids. And the amino acids, all you need are the 8 essential. They will form bonds and create proteins in the body. So actually, the body is a protein making machine. So as long as you're getting your amino acid from your plants, you're going to make proteins. So you don't necessarily have to have complete proteins. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Get an amen? Yes, a head nod, a wink, something. Also, the other big macronutrient is fat. So plenty of healthy fat in things like avocado, coconut oil, even in our seeds and nuts, our chia seeds, great omega-3s, our flax seeds, we got to grind them up, but great omega-3s. And the worst lie ever told in the 80s was low-fat diet. It doesn't work. We need fat. And so the other important macronutrients are water. We talked about already having to have at least half your body weight in ounces of water. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you need to drink 100 ounces of water. And I added up earlier when Tanya was saying 8 glasses times 12 is 96 ounces. So there's your 100 ounces of water and plenty of fiber. Tanya talked about this too. First week, or was it? Yes. First week talking about insoluble and soluble fiber. So the macronutrient are what we need for bulk energy. This is what we need in volume. And this helps us move our form, right? It helps give us energy, but our micronutrients, very, very important. So a lot of people point to the phytonutrients, and phyto means plants. So these are things that come from plants. They're antioxidant. So they help to prevent the body from breaking down, being full of sludge, and what we call oxidative rust. So the antioxidants slow all that down, which is very, very helpful. Also, these micronutrients, we've heard of vitamins and minerals, very important. They support the very functions of the body. They help prevent disease, and they help different organs do different things. So what's very, very important here is that plants, from the sun and the soil, they gather these nutrients, right? And they transmute them and make these micronutrients available to us. Every time it goes into another animal, it gets less and less. That's why we only eat animals that eat plants, because after so long, if it goes to a third party, it's nothing there. And I always tell people who are not plant-based, I say, hey, give it a try. You know, we go to this animal and that animal to get these things. Why just skip the middle cow, skip the middle move, just go straight to the source. So let me go to my next slide. And this is on the right, you see the Nourish Plate. So this is authored by Tanya Durrah. This is in your homework. This is part of your tool belt now. So if you ever wonder, is my family getting what they need? Am I making meals that feed me? This is how your plate will look. You want starchy carbs because they give you good energy, healthy fats because it helps your joints, your brain, keep your body lubricated. We want proteins or things that can make proteins, like the amino acids that are in plant food. You can have plenty, almost, look, half your plate can be green leafy vegetables. That's the grass, right? Our grass is the collard greens, the turnips, the kale, the bok choy, the cabbage. Like, we have so many grass, just like you mentioned about the cows and the chickens eating the grass. And then also our non-starchy carbs, like our broccoli and our okra and different things like that, our cruciferous vegetables. So that's a picture of the nourished plate. And I love it because it gives me a true picture of how a balanced plate will be in my home. So one of the things I wanted to just drop on you before I leave is it's so important, especially during this time, this season of the year and this season in time in history. Deficiencies in micronutrients can literally cost you your health and your life. So number one that we're finding is a huge comorbidity factor, especially for people of color, is vitamin D. And all you got to do is go out in the sun. I know that so many of us were shamed about going in the sun and getting black. Y'all remember that? Can I get an amen? But that thinking has to be erased, because one of the things about having browner skin is that we have more protection against any damaging rays. So we need more sun. The blacker the better. You heard that, the sweeter the juice. Make that vitamin D, get out of the office, get out of those fluorescent lights, and build your immunity. So people, I don't know if you noticed, but people who live in very like low sun environments have very bad teeth. That's because they're not getting enough vitamin D and they're not building bone marrow and they don't have good immune systems. So I also wanted to mention magnesium and potassium. Right before a heart attack or stroke, people have a severe drop in those two micronutrients. So those are micronutrients that you want to be sure that you are getting from somewhere. And magnesium is one of those things that is not really in American farming. A lot of Black women deal with low iron, anemia. Can I get an amen? Have you ever been told you can't give blood? Yes.
Yes.
So we have to eat our leafy greens, our beets, our beet tops, and build our iron and build our body. And also I want to leave you with this story. And this is why I do now believe in supplementing. Before I was like, I do raw food. I eat everything healthy. I don't need supplements. Yes, we do. There was one guy, he was completely holistic, lived off the grid, ate 100% raw, had a stroke in his 60s and died. He had a copper deficiency because whatever he was eating out in the field, it was raw, it was good, but it didn't have copper. Each one of these micronutrients have a function. So we have to take care of ourselves and take care of our body. And that is what I came to share with you. So thank you so much. Now I am going to turn it over to Sandy, Reverend Sandy Rogers.
Thanks, Carla. That was excellent, man. I learned a lot from your presentation. I truly appreciate that. And so I'm coming to talk to you about body movement. And so I had this all planned out, how I was going to do it. But then I started looking into it. And do you guys know that because we get into this daylight savings time, that our bodies change? And what happens is more people have more adverse health issues like heart attacks and stressing, like we've talked about already. And the government already knows, right? So this thing started back in 1918, over 100 years ago, as a war effort to help out. And then they reinstated the regular time. And then what happened is that we went back after World War II and put the daylight savings times back in. But it throws everything off for us. It jacks us up. Our body clocks don't know what to do, because now, it's like, oh, but it was this time yesterday and today is this time. And so all of this, like Carla was saying, and like what Tanya was saying, it's layered. So it's not just that we're moving the clock back or moving the clock forward, but it has an impact on our health. And so some of the things that we need to be really cautious about doing is going outside and getting that morning sunlight. Carla just told you about the vitamin D. That's where it comes from, is from the sun. We need to make sure that we're moving our body as much as possible throughout the day, because there's some research that was done with 129 million patients. 129 million. So we're not talking about a little drop in the bucket. And that's what these results are come from, is the testing that they did with those individuals. But you can manage your stress, like Tanya was talking about, through those different, the meditation, being still, the breathing, the fire breath, and all of like that. And you can also de-stress by doing body movement. I call it body movement versus exercise, because a lot of people freeze up when you say exercise. They'd be like, oh, no, I can't do that, right? I don't have a gym membership. Well, you don't need any of that. And the benefits, there are quite a few of them, but you have an enhanced mood. And what that does is it takes you from that stressing, from the depression, from the anxiety, from any of those type of negative emotions, and kind of balance you out, because you got blood pumping through your body and everything is a lot better. Now, your lymph nodes, you have them especially up under your arms and in your breast. So the lymph is the system in your body that fights against infection and bacteria. It does not have a pump like your heart that pumps the blood. And so it is activated through you moving your body. So there's a couple of exercises, and I'm gonna stand up just slightly. So you can kind of do something like this, will get your lymph nodes moving, and a personal trampoline, that jumping up and down gets the liquid, your lymphatic fluids flowing in your body. Say that fast 3 times. But we have to help that along. And so by moving our body regularly, it helps to keep that going. It helps to keep you well. It keeps your body, the immune system strengthened, because the fluid is going through and is cleansing the infection, the bacteria, and all of that which may be hiding there. It body movement also gives you healthier bones. And so, as we age, we kind of lose some bone mass, but as you exercise, you're actually building that back up. And so that's another benefit from it. And enhanced brain health. So I believe Tanya was talking about the stress and how, it starts up at the top. And so we want to do as much as we can. Now that we know more, we can do more, and just move the body, so that our brain health is more enhanced. And then last thing that's been noted is that your sex life is improved. So you keep up a better stamina. You're less likely to be experiencing any dry periods, or for men, you won't have any lag or slag going on. And so I wanted to just kind of give you some ideas, because a lot of times when people say, do you exercise or do you move your body? You may not get where they're coming from. So I just wanted to give you a couple of suggestions or ideas that you can do in your home, and there'll be a couple that you can go outside as well, but just so that you have some things to work with. So the first thing is return to being a childlike. You remember, as a little girl or as a little boy, you always had different games to play, different things to do outside, right? But as we get older and we have more responsibility, we don't go outside. We got to stay in and do all of whatever. So I'm asking you to be more childlike and have fun with life. Go outside and get you some sunlight. And again, I'm saying body movement because I want you to really take this serious and to incorporate in your daily life. And so, you know, we talked about the lymph nodes, and so we want to keep the fluid moving throughout our body so that we can effectively fight against infection and bacteria. So jump rope, y'all know what I'm talking about. Jumping rope, you can do it by yourself. You can do it in your house. You can do it outside. You can do it with your children, your grandchildren, with your friends. You can do jump rope, and you can get them at the dollar store, okay? So it's not even expensive. I know some people go to the sporting goods store, and that's a little bit too rich. So just get you a jump rope and jump and dance. Oh man. So turn that music up. I heard Youngblood is not on the radio. That was my boy on Saturday mornings from 7 to 12. Yeah. He would crank that thing up and go all the way back in the archives, right? Play you some old music, play you some oldies but goodies, find something on Spotify or iTunes. I hope I'm saying these names right, but find you some music. Dance like ain't nobody watching, or you really don't give a care who is watching you, and have some fun. You know, the cha-cha and the bankhead bounce, all of that, you know, get your groove going. That is body movement, and it'll do the same thing like going to a gym. You can hopscotch. Remember how you drew the lines on the sidewalk, and you jump and you jump and you throw something and then you jump and jump. So, I mean, all of these things we could do, and it doesn't cost that much. You know, it's basically just remembering what we did as children. You can walk. Tanya, I think, talked about the 10,000 steps. You can walk outside, you can walk in your house, you can go with a friend on the path or a trail. You can walk inside. I've got a good friend that likes to walk around Walmart. So put Walmart to use and walk around it, or go to the mall, you know, go to a safe place and walk the perimeter of the mall. But these are just some ideas. Again, you don't have to buy a membership to a gym. You can do these things just to keep yourself moving. You can do lunges in your house, right? So you're going from one room to another. So you take that long gait, right? And you stretch out your movement, let the bottom knee kind of touch the ground. And then you take that foot and you put it out, and then you do. That's what a lunge is. If you don't know what it is, you can look it up on Google or YouTube, or somebody will tell you what a lunge is. It's just really making your stance wide. And so my personal trainer, Eve Davis, I'm not sure if she's on the call tonight or not, but she taught me to do stretches first thing in the morning before you even get out of the bed. So you can, you know, stretch and do all of that, you know, get everything moving and loosen, and the shoulders backwards and forwards, but loosen your body up. This is all before you even step on the floor in your bedroom. So you're loosened and everything. And then, so I go to a chiropractor weekly, and because we're spending so much time at these computers, sometimes we get this, you know, this pain up in here and the tightness up in here. So in a door frame, it doesn't matter what door, well, put your hands up like around the shoulder area and just kind of brace yourself, and then push yourself forward. That'll take these muscles here, and it'll help to relax them. So you just want to kind of go, maybe count to 5 and just hold that stretch, and you bracing yourself on the door frame, and then you come back. So do that 5 or 10 times, and you'll start taking out some of that tension in your neck. You can do yoga stretches. I know there's a lot of people that are doing free yoga classes online. I know Carla teaches yoga. I'm not sure if she's actively doing them right now. And I apologize. I should really know that. But I don't have, she can update you on what she does. And then, like Tanya said, let's get up from the computer. They say that's the new cigarettes. It's like smoking a cigarette, because we sit at that computer and we just get mesmerized. I know I do. And what I think is going to take me 20 minutes takes me 2 hours, and I'm still sitting there and I haven't moved. So get you a timer, or the little egg timer. They're just a couple of dollars or something, and set it until you get into the habit of getting up every 30 minutes from that computer. You want to get up and just stretch, move your body so that your blood is circulating. It's so important that we move our body to stay healthy. So gardening, for those of you that know me, I love to be outside digging in the dirt and growing me some fresh food. That exceeds anything I've ever done at any gym. I'll be tired, I'll be worn out, but it's so rewarding. And I would offer that to anyone that wants to improve their eating plus do the body movement. Gardening, look, you shoveling or you digging, you're doing all this. And if you do it right, I don't mean that, there's a rule book to go by, but if you're actually out there doing the work, you get your work in. Workout in. And then take a class with a friend. Do some Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, Pilates. You can find any number of groups, and I believe a lot of them are online that you can do with, but get your accountability partner. They work wonders. And so that's it for me. Move your body is what is the name of the game. And it's the third pillar of the 4 pillars that Tanya has presented us tonight. And so I'm gonna pass it over to Miss Star Waters. Star.
Oh.
What happened?
What? That was wonderful, Sandy. Thank you so much.
Looked like you was over there nodding to me.
No, I just kind of closed my eyes for a minute and but listen, I heard everything you said.
Oh, girl.
Okay. I'm sorry. I've had a couple of rough days here. Okay.
All right.
I mean, one day, I do this intermittent fasting. So one day I just wanted something to eat before going to bed. So I made me some hot lemon water or tea. And I was up all night going to the bathroom. I didn't get no sleep whatsoever. And then the night before that, I was future tripping about something that was going to happen, a couple of days. And I tossed it. Listen, I couldn't sleep at night. I was tossing and turning and tossing and turning all night. So it's caught up with me. And I'm so sorry, people. Please forgive me. But I'm here to talk about the 4th pillar, which is sleep. And apparently I haven't had enough, so forgive me. But let me tell you about sleep and how important it is in this whole spectrum of the 4 pillars of health. Sleep is the very most important of all of the pillars, because if you're not getting your rest, life just ain't gonna happen right for you, okay? And like I told you, see, you all thought I was asleep, but I was listening. I heard everybody, all right? And what I kept hearing through my other co-hosts here is the importance of sunshine. Sunshine is very important for us getting sleep. And you probably want to know why. Well, it's something about the rays of the sunshine that trigger like a wellness, happy, balanced kind of thing. And so, you know, getting that vitamin D, and you can also take some vitamin D3 supplements as well. But there are so many exciting things out here because I come from the Pacific Northwest. That's my home. I hail from Portland, Oregon. And as beautiful as that place is when the sun shines, the sun don't always shine all the time. And so that can lead on to depression, and it can give you that draggy, sluggish feeling, you know. They have some wonderful things out here on the market right now that can help to build up that sunshine element within your body to help you sleep. One of the things that I just happened to hear about the other day were little earbuds that you put into your ear that shine light into your brain. I know, Sandy, ain't that something? But I'm serious, but these people are really integrated as far as putting on new things in the market. I knew about this next one I'm going to tell you about, because for the longest time, and I mean the longest time, and I'm not going to tell you how many times of years, but when I lived in Portland, Oregon, I thought I had some kind of a disorder. I was depressed all the time. And it wasn't until I moved away to Missouri, and I was there for a whole year, when I realized I haven't had not one bout of depression. And I was gone from Portland for about 8 years. And as soon as I got back there, the depression came back again. I was very happy that it wasn't me, it was the place. But unfortunately, that was my home, and I had come back home and I was there. But I did learn about light therapy. They have these light bulbs. Goodness, they cost a lot of money, but if they do the trick, they do the trick. They give you the same effect of being in the sun. You can get them to go in your lamps. You can get them to go anywhere. You can have like little light boxes where you can just sit with those special light bulbs next to you, and you get energized and you get your efficient amount of sun. Okay. So melatonin is a hormone that is released in our pineal glands in our brain. And that helps us to be able to sleep well. It helps us to go to sleep faster. It also helps us to sleep longer. And when we wake up refreshed and ready to go. And so for those people who have issues going to sleep, sometimes like myself, I just heard today that attempting to go to sleep, one must be in a state of mindfulness or mindlessness. I can't remember which one it was. But anyway, you know, when you're in that state where you're in the moment. So what happened to me the other day when I was tossing and turning, couldn't sleep all night, I had something coming up that was really important to me, and my mind wouldn't shut off. You know, sometimes they call that the monkey mind, you know, where you have all of this chatter going on in your mind and everything, and you just can't shut it off. So this is what I do when I am in that state. Where is it? Right here. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. There. This is what I do. I found this purely by accident. It's just a picture, but it is on YouTube, where they have all of these different type of things like rain on the window, or a storm or wind or something like that. I get off on ocean waves. I love it because it's so peaceful, and you hear the waves come in and go out and come in. I particularly like this one because it's black screen, so the light from the TV won't keep me awake. And before you know it, all I'm concentrating on is the waves. And on top of that, I have a Himalayan light in my room. And so I turn away from the light so it doesn't affect me and keep me awake. But it gives me that feeling of being at the beach, because the Himalayan lights give you that negative ion thing. So, hey, this is my sleeping pill, okay? So one of the things that you can benefit from when you sleep is you will appear to be more attractive to other people. Yeah, how about that? I thought, really? Because when you're sleep deprived, you know, like you're down, you don't have your full energy, and you're feeling a certain kind of way on the inside, but you're also radiating something to the people on the outside. And sometimes it looks like you don't think you're all that hot or cute or anything like that. And it's just your mood. Okay. So what you can do, what sleep does for you is it makes your brain where it can fight off diseases, like you fight off cancer, high blood pressure, obesity, and you're able to come across to the world bright, cheery, and all of that. So you have extra energy. It also keeps pain away from you. And sleeping and resting is your best medicine. So while your body is relaxing, we talked about the vital energy that when you're not digesting food comes in and does the cleanup work, has this little, dust rag and all that. It's the best thing for you when you are ill and needing to rest up. That's why a lot of times people are medically induced in comas to help them to rest. So I say to you, if you want your relationships to always be on the up, get your sleep. If you want to get your stress level down, get your sleep. If you want to fight off high blood pressure and diabetes, get your sleep. So I'm going to go back to sleep now. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Star, for staying up long enough to do your session, right? Thank you so much. Oh, man, that was really good. Sleep is important. So we're going to bring it back to Miss Tanya and let Miss Tanya share her highlights and any last closing thoughts, and take a couple of questions from the audience.
Well, guys, I hope you guys saw that, how when you look at the 4 pillars, even though we're talking about a pillar, which is generally a square maybe, but when you look at this, it's all full circle, because each pillar kind of holds the other one up, if you will. You know, just when you think about sleep, and just starting with sleep, Star is so absolutely right in what she was saying, and that this is a pillar that is so important, because when you're getting good sleep, right, it also affects your nutrition. Because if you're not getting enough sleep, you're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to be hungry because your body didn't get to do the sweeping that she talked about. It didn't get to do the cleaning that it needed to do when you don't get adequate sleep. And so 9 times out of 10, what's going to happen is it's going to affect your nutrition, because you're going to get up and the first thing that you're going to want is some sugar and some caffeine to get your energy going. And so you're going to start your day off probably eating something that's not going to be the most nutrient dense for your body to really keep you going, right? And so, and when that happens, you're going to have the crashes and burns all day long, because you started your day off with eating sugar, right? Or as Carla explained, eating simple carbs, which are like straight sugar that go directly into your bloodstream. It doesn't allow for your body to process it and just keeps you at a state, keep your blood sugar level at a constant, steady pace. And so when that happens, you're not gonna have enough energy to move because you're not gonna feel like it. You're gonna be tired. So the chances of you doing any kind of movement are going to decrease, right? And because you don't have the feel-good hormone, the dopamine's going to your body, 9 times out of 10, that's when your mood is going to change. And you're going to see, and you may start feeling some parts of stress. And so each pillar kind of like rests upon the other. So when you get some form of balance of the pillars, you're more apt to be able to just live optimally in health. And so that's why, again, I want you guys to take the quiz and really look at where your strengths were on the quiz and where you're weak on the quiz. And based on that, begin working on whichever pillar you're weak in to bring it up so that it can be in balance with the other 4 pillars. And that's the main thing that I really want you guys to take away with this exercise. Again, if you want to redo the quiz, it's in the workbook that came along with this series. So definitely go in and take a look at that. Also, your bonus has the Nourish plate in it, where it goes into a little bit more detail about exactly how to create a balanced meal every single time you sit down to eat, because that's so important, because you need both those macronutrients that Carla talked about, and you need those micronutrients that Carla talked about. And then you'll have the energy to do some of the things that Sandy talked about. You know, Sandy, I didn't even think about when you said that you were gonna take it a little different with movement. Man, just hearing you talk about doing the things, the games that we used to play when we were kids. Man, that took me back. I started thinking, I'm like typing in the chat box, yeah, like hide and go seek and red light, green light, and like you said, hopscotch and double dutch and all of those things. A lot of times we don't think about that as exercise, but that's really what gets your body moving. And whatever you do, dancing, just move, because it all is in full circle. So that's my wrap up there. For any of you that want to be in touch with me, and I guess I should write this down. I can be emailed at Tanya@kisstohealth.com, which is the name of my company. Like I said from the outset, I believe in keeping it simple. Because what I know for sure is when we take like these simple steps consistently, keyword there is consistently, we can see changes and improvement in our health like we never thought before. And then it also helps us just to maintain our health. And that's what we really want, because I don't know if you guys are like me, you want to be here for a little bit, you know, because we have things to do. You know, I know there are a lot of powerful women and gentlemen in our series, and we have things to do. So we have to make sure that we're maintaining and taking care of this body temple with every ounce of our being. So that being said, if we have any questions, I think Carla was answering a lot of the questions, but are there any other questions that you guys may have based on what we were talking about this evening? Anybody?
I captured a couple of questions. There were a couple questions from prior weeks, and then one question about CBD. So one question for Sandy was the saltwater cleanse, and Sandy reposted it in the chat tonight. And someone asked again, like, how often can you do that?
I would do it no more than a week at a time, because you don't want to become dependent on anything. So just do it a few days, 5 to 7 days, let your body rest 5 to 7 days. And then if you think you need to do it again, but if you incorporate more water into your daily habits, the water will keep you flushed out. And so once you start that process, you won't need to do it every day.
And if I may add to that, the other thing to that too, even if you don't do the saltwater flush, just doing something as simple as when the very first thing when you get up in the morning and drinking warm water can have the same effect. Exactly. And that's something that you can do every day.
Right.
Okay, someone asked about the breath of fire, how often they could do that, Tanya?
So like I said, it's something that you can build up to do like, you know, up to 10 minutes at, you know, like 1 minute at a time, or, you know, but the stronger, the more you do it, and the stronger your lungs and your breath will get, you'll be able to do it a little bit longer, you know. But I definitely recommend doing it like in 1 minute increments, especially in the beginning, because you will have that dizziness going on and we don't need anybody falling out.
And then there was a question, I think just a general question for any of us about CBD oil. And I'll just say that I don't have that much experience with CBD oil, THC, very little knowledge. So that's not really one of the tools that I use in my tool belt, but I have heard a lot of very impressive testimonies. So I'll pass it on to y'all if y'all have any recommendations or thoughts on CBD oil.
So if you, I don't know, from the beginning, you guys may have heard when we were doing our introductions that I am like the CFO of our family health beverage company. And so basically the drink that our family makes is is our brand of sorrel, which if you're not familiar with sorrel is a beverage that's made from the hibiscus flower. And we add a lot of other, you know, root plants in it, like ginger, fresh turmeric, and other herbs and spices, if you will, into it. And one of the drinks that my husband makes with the sorrel is he has one that's infused with CBD oil. And so a lot of people, and these are just testimonies from a lot of our customers, a lot of people who ingest the CBD oil, it does help them with relaxing. So if you do have issues with sleep, it can help with that. It has helped people who have like inflammation, sort of almost kind of like if you're familiar with golden milk, it kind of has like that same kind of effect. People have said that. Personally, I have not ingested CBD oil, but I was having issues with my knees as I've gotten a little older. I'm like, I can't sit too long because my knees get crickety on me. And so, you know, we were going out of town, and you know, I was like, you know what? I've heard that, you know, CBD oil is good externally. Let me just put some of this on my knee and see what happens. And when I tell you, oh my God, that thing was a miracle. I just put it directly on my knee. And like, when I tell you, it was almost instantaneous that the pain that I was feeling just disappeared. So I'm a believer for externally, for external use. But that's just been my personal experience with it, and just a testimony of other people that have drank our infused drink with the CBD oil.
And also, Tanya, can you type your contact information in the chat? A couple requests to get in contact with you. And there's a question in the chat about vitamin D in terms of taking it as a supplement. And I'm trying to recall how much vitamin D that I'm giving my family right now, because vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin, so it can hang out in the body. So some of them are water soluble. So it's like, yeah, you can go crazy. It's not really gonna impact you, but vitamin D can build up in the body and you're not going to want that. So, and I'm not with my vitamin D right now. So I'm trying to look up how much we've been taking, but I try to stick with a pretty precise dose based on the supplement that I'm using. And right now, the one that I'm using, I'll share with you. I'll put that in the chat. Hinwak said that you can take up to 5,000 mgs a day. One of the things I will say is that, and it's 10:07, so we're going to close pretty shortly. But one of my friends has a niece who's a nurse, and she's studying to be a physician's assistant. And she's saying when people are coming into the ER for COVID, they're immediately giving them IV C, D, and zinc. And I just find it so interesting that we're not talking about that, doing that prophylactically, preventatively for our families as a cocktail to combine with what we're already doing. If that's what they immediately do, they give you a line of DC and zinc. That seems like that would almost be a baseline for everybody. But we have not gotten any nutrition guidelines. We've not gotten anything, to build up our immunity in terms of herbs or anything like that. In fact, many of the posts have been suppressed.
Exactly.
So I find that tremendously interesting.
I do want to add to that too, which also goes into, as we're closing, your homework for next week, when Carla will be talking to you about waste, ridding yourself of waste and whittling your waistline. And one of the things relative to vitamin D, part of your homework is get a picture, if you will, of what your numbers are. And your vitamin D numbers are very important in terms of knowing whether you are vitamin D deficient right at the border or not, because that will also determine how much vitamin D you need to take. If you are extremely vitamin D deficient, you can be prescribed as much as 50,000 IUs that you take weekly over a period of time. But I'm not a doctor. Let me put my disclaimer out there. I'm not a doctor. I can just share with you my experiences from working with other people in the health and wellness arena, as well as things that I have been trained on. But what I will say, vitamin D, the level of vitamin D that you take is directly correlated to what your number is. I think the standard number it should be at like 50 now, because they've raised it. It used to be 30, but now I think it's 50. And so if you're anywhere below that, 9 times out of 10, your doctor will prescribe you, like I said, anywhere from that 5,000 up to as much as 50,000 IUs to take, just to bring your levels back up. But then once your levels are up, you can take anywhere from 1,000 to, I don't know, IUs a day. But again, the other thing about vitamin D is that you always have to keep in mind too, that vitamin D is something that we do produce with our body, inside of our bodies, but the sun actually activates it. And so that's the real reason that you want to get out into the sun. You already have the vitamin D, you just need it to be activated. So the more you stay out in the sun, the more vitamin D is actually being activated and produced in your body. So that's very important. Again, as we're talking about movement and just getting out for a number of different reasons.
Yeah, I one of my really close friends, and she's a wellness coach, and she works in the wellness world. Her son found out that he was extremely vitamin D deficient, and I'm saying that because several people have just put in the chat that they've been diagnosed as vitamin D deficient. It's rampant in the African-American community. And her son, he was so deficient that when he went into the military, he was exempted from all the physical because it causes brittle bones if you don't have strong bones. And this was a young man, but it was from years and years of playing video games on the inside, not going out and doing the things that we used to do, the hopscotch and the running around and the hide and seek. And it's really important. It's important for our mind, body, and spirit to get outside. This whole planet was made for us to enjoy with our body outside. We weren't meant to be in fluorescent lights on the inside 24/7. That's not who we are. All right. Absolutely. But it's 10:12. Are there any other pressing questions? Because we're going to wrap it up. It's been a great night.
I have a question. This is Betty. And my question is, for quite some time, I was hearing about people saying that we should be taking in more protein, and you have all those protein mixes and shakes and what have you. So I'm wondering, you hear that you should have more protein, and you've heard that you shouldn't have more protein. And based on what you're telling me, I understand that we really can get all we need through the plant-based diet. But if you could expand on that a little bit, that would be good.
Yeah. One of the reasons why we see so many dialysis clinics popping up where we didn't have them before. When I was living in Atlanta, lived along Memorial Drive several times in the 30 years of me living in Atlanta. And then one day I looked up and there's a dialysis clinic really every block, where when I moved there were no dialysis clinics. And failing kidney is part of the body being inundated with too much protein, too much animal protein specifically. And so I think the concept that we need 3 meats a day, or we need meat-based protein, it's a marketing message. It really has nothing to do with health. Even all around the world, there are really no protein deficiencies. When care packages are sent to developing countries, they never send jerky. So I do understand, and I get it, because it's been such a strong message. We have very strong political action committees in this country. They run the Food and Drug Administration. So I do hear you. And my mantra is that my body is a protein making machine. And I will say one thing, I do notice, like, as I've been doing more and more research for next week to talk about weight loss, there is like this huge push to do all these proteins. And me personally, I'm not agreeing with these synthetic proteins, these powders, this 3 meats a day. That's not part of my philosophy. And in fact, I think it can be detrimental.
And here's the question that I always say, we do want to look at everything logically. And like Carla said, nowhere on the planet, is there a protein deficiency. So what that says is we are getting more than enough protein. There are a lot of things out here that are marketing ploys, and we have to be conscious and aware of that at all times,
Okay, I just want to say one other thing. I've heard many times that they say if you're type O, you need to eat meat to get your protein. What do you have to say about that, Carla?
Yeah, I'm O positive.
Yeah, me too.
I'm still alive.
Yeah,
and pretty thick too.
Okay.
No protein deficiency over here.
Thank you.
And again, the key is our disclaimer: we are not doctors, we're not medical professionals. We're sharing with you from our own experiences for your education, and we do encourage the questions, but we also encourage you to do your own research and find your own answers, because we're not just wanting to give answers, but we want to stimulate your minds into finding what's good and what's best for you.
Exactly.
And with that, team, are we good? All
We
my
are. So just again, ladies and gentlemen, next week, your homework assignment is to know your numbers, your blood pressure numbers, your weight, your measurements, maybe even your vitamin D, numbers, if you are able to get those numbers. But if you don't, just in the back of your mind, just be aware of those are numbers that you need to know. And Carla's going to be talking about that as she shares what she's going to share with you next week. And you do not want to miss this because it's going to be powerful.
Yes. And also, it's not too late. If you have friends who want to join us, they'll have access to the replays in our private Facebook group. Please make sure that you're coming to our private Facebook group. So week 2 with Star Waters, which was phenomenal, about reversing sugar. Don't be a sugar mama. It's going to be playing this Saturday and Sunday in the private Facebook group. All right. So that's all I wanted to add. I wanted to make sure they got in there.
Let's see. I want to. So I'm trying to type fast. I'm going to post that link because someone asked what's the Facebook link. And also, I'm going to put the link in here, but also, ladies, if you, when you check your emails, inside of your email, there is like a link that you can go to that when you click on it, it will take you to the Facebook link, to the Facebook, to the private Facebook group. Okay, I can't find it. Carla, could you post the link in the chat box, please, ma'am?
I've put it in there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right. So we look forward to seeing everybody next week for more sharing and more learning and growing and putting everyone and putting ourselves in like a position to live in health optimally, because that's what we all want to do. That's what we all want to do. So with that being said, we're going to bid you adieu. Have a good evening. Do your homework.
Everyone. Yes.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome.
Great presentation, Tanya.
Oh, thank you so much, Scott.
Excellent.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Night.
Night.
No, how do I? Oh, I need to. Nope, that's not what I want to do. Ah, there we go. Okay, now I can see the peoples.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Just in time to say good night.
I know, right? Me and my tech challenges. Good night, everyone. Ooh, Goddess Evolution. I love that.
Yes, that's Goddess Anika. Good
I
night.
didn't get to see your beautiful face this evening.
I know, she was being shy. But I'm glad you're here.
Yes.
Good to
Good night,
see
good night. Good night, Connie. And continue to practice with the meditation.
Yeah, that was awesome. Hey, Angela, have a good night.
Good night. Good night, Sandy.
Good night, my